Did you know that globally women produce more than half of the world's food, work 2/3 of the labor hours, but earn only 10% of the global income?
Can I say something very blunt?
Absolutely. This is a blunt show.
So, men, in my opinion, are animals where they like to dominate anything and anybody they can. And women have become the easy target.
Women face violence and discrimination that impacts their ability to work, drive, dress, and inherit property.
Very
Steffi,
Yeah.
how has your life been impacted by having to deal with men constantly?
It's hard. Like, me and my friends were going out the other night, and then the bar was like 2 blocks away, not even. We had to take an Uber there. We couldn't walk because it was night. And I was booking the Uber just thinking, like, this is ridiculous, because we had to walk past the train station where, like, a lot of men are.
Right.
And to not get bothered, we had to, like, take, like, a 1-minute Uber ride.
How about employment-wise, though? Have you had struggles?
I think being a woman in my life has actually helped, because like, I worked in stores and stuff, and the male bosses like women to work for them, like, be the face.
You know why Donald Trump got elected twice?
Because men like what he did to women.
No, because he was a candidate against two women.
Well, you two, today's topic is women empowerment. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Professor Joy podcast. I almost called you doctor, but you are a doctor. It's okay. It's okay. Professor Joy, love the tie.
Oh, thank you.
Love the tie. Looks very, very, very good.
I hope it's not overdone.
I hope not either. How are you today?
Beautiful.
Happy third day of spring.
Yeah. Very nice.
Spring has sprung.
Yeah.
And of course, our beloved social media manager who multitasks every which way, Stephanie.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
How's spring treating you?
Great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, you two, today's topic is women empowerment. Did you know that globally women produce more than half of the world's food, work 2/3 of the labor hours, but earn only 10% of the global income?
Only 10%?
Only 10% of the global income. Not only that, women face violence and discrimination that impacts their ability to work, drive, dress, and inherit property. Why is this happening to women? Why is there still a glass ceiling for them?
Is that a question?
Yes, sir.
Can I say something very blunt?
Absolutely. This is a blunt show.
So, men, in my opinion, are animals where they like to dominate anything and anybody they can. And women have become the easy target. So there was a women's lib movement, you know how far back it was? Long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah, in the 1960s.
Yeah,
Late 1960s.
yeah, 60s, yeah.
Sure.
Since then, they've been getting more recognition and fairness, but it's long ways to go.
Right. I mean, they still face racism and sexism issues.
Look, at that time when we were talking, they did not even have the right to vote. How disgraceful is that?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And even today, I'm sorry to say this, but uh, you know why Donald Trump got elected twice?
Because men like what he did to women.
No, because he was a candidate against two women.
That is true. That is really Hillary
You know,
Clinton.
first time he was, and you know, this guy is such a heinous personality.
This is a blunt show. You can be blunt.
You know how he humiliated them? Called every name in every way and got away with it. So he is a master of, now you're talking about women today, he's a master of taking advantage of them, manipulating them. Look, I mean, maybe you know this, that he was indicted 34 times because of that business of sexual inappropriate
Yes.
relationship with a woman when he was having a child with Melania.
Melania, right.
Same time. And then he got caught red-handed
On video.
on trying to pay her off, which was illegal campaign financing. You know, and I could be wrong, but I would say that there has never been a president in this country who was more, what is the word for?
I don't know, he treated women like objects.
Right, that's number one.
Okay.
But number two, by the way, I was listening to a talk show host. There's a gal in MNBC, Alex Wagner.
Yes, Alex Wagner.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she was interviewing two people who wrote a book called Lucky Loser about Donald Trump. This is about 2-inch thick book. It's not a little book.
It's not
it's a
60-page read.
No, it's a major document. And it documents everything from the time he grew up and his dad gave him money. And he's been losing everything he inherited from any way, any form. And then he's gone bankrupt 6 times. He screwed up the economy Obama left for him. He screwed up the economy Biden left for him. You know, in 2 months, he screwed up that economy. In 2 months. It's gone down the tube.
Yes.
We have lost $4 trillion valuation already in 2 months.
Amazing.
But you know, I'm starting to give some credit to him for starting this movement of having Elon Musk look into how the government does its business. There's a lot of waste.
Yes.
And finally someone is trying to revamp it and review it. So as much as I don't approve of Donald Trump in terms of what he's done in his life, but this decision to have Elon Musk look into how government operates and cut out all the waste is something I admire him for. So I can give credit to people even if I hate them. Isn't that good?
It is good. Is it bringing joy to our lives, though? Professor Joy.
Did you see Bobby fell off the chair?
I did.
He fell off so hard he came off 6 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
Steffi,
Yes.
how has your life been impacted by having to deal with men constantly?
I mean, it's hard. Like, me and my friends were going out the other night, and then the bar was like 2 blocks away, not even. We had to take an Uber there. We couldn't walk because it was night. And I was booking the Uber just thinking, like, this is ridiculous because we had to walk past the train station where, like, a lot of men are.
Right.
And to not get bothered, we had to, like, take, like, a 1-minute Uber ride. So it's stuff like that it's a daily thing. Like, we didn't even think about walking. Like, we knew that we had to take the Uber. So
Just for a block?
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
That bad?
yeah.
That
At
doesn't make
nighttime,
sense.
At 9 o'clock at night.
9 o'clock
yeah,
at night
Yeah.
in LA.
Wow.
Downtown LA. Yeah.
How about employment wise though? Have you had struggles?
I think being a woman in my life has actually helped because, like, I worked in stores and stuff, and the male bosses like women to work for them, like, be the face.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
So I think
So
being
they
a
have an
woman
advantage.
has
Yes.
helped me in that section. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That is interesting.
Didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the face.
yeah.
Not your face.
That's from male bosses too. It's always a male boss, and they always employ women to be the
Really?
front and center of these
Ah,
companies.
Interesting.
Research by sociologist Margaret Chin shows that Asian American women face similar prejudices as do African American women, dealing with racialized and gendered harassment. Latinas also face stereotypical situations that affect their confidence and their morale. Women of color are underrepresented in high status professions like business, law, academia, although I think we see it more in academia. I see
Yeah.
more and more.
Academia is more open.
I agree.
Well, there is affirmative action has helped that because every department is supposed to have a proportionate men to women and
But now you know that
minority.
there's a lot of universities that are taking down their diversity, equity, inclusion.
Yeah,
requirements
but
and
that's
everything because,
Donald
I mean-
Trump's idiotic push,
Yeah.
I think there's nothing
I mean,
wrong.
University of Pennsylvania lost like 4 million. Columbia University
Yeah.
lost many millions of dollars
Yeah.
before they took it down. That was affecting research
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but in the United States, according to our research in our chapter, only 3% of doctors are black women. Only 3%.
Now that I don't know if that can be blamed on white and male population
Okay.
because as far as that is concerned, I think universities do not have any bias against women candidates for anything. So if black women decide not to become doctors, then they don't.
Our research shows that a lot of time these black doctors are characterized as nurses. And-
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it isn't only women who face these struggles, although they certainly do. But people with disabilities
Oh, okay.
also face a lot of stereotyping and prejudices and challenges in advancing in businesses.
So, what you just said, that is typical of what we see in US. But in India, it's not true. There is absolutely no, I have to look into it, but I would say that is not at all true in India. They've always been placed in high positions. India had one of the first prime minister who was a female, Indira Gandhi, And at least I haven't seen that to be the case in India.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that people face challenges with, and something that is near and dear to our hearts, is literacy.
Yeah.
Because we have readability, and we're offering our services to people who are homeless. Maybe you can expound on that a little bit.
So, this is something I learned. When I learned, I sort of talked to Sukant about it, but I support Long Beach Rescue Mission, which is the organization helps and supports homeless population. And during my tour, Jeff Levine showed me around, and I saw this classroom. I said, "What are these?" And all these men, mostly men actually, were sitting in front of the computer monitors. I said, "What are they studying?" He said, "They're learning how to read and write." I said, "They don't know how to read and write?" He said, "No." So then I learned that majority of the population of homeless people and people incarcerated, they don't know how to read and write. And I said, this is ridiculous. So I talked to Braden, who served as chief of police of Long Beach, and he said that's very common. And in fact, that maybe is one of the reasons where they end up being in those two places, incarcerated or homeless. And I thought about it after that, and I said, it kind of makes sense. I mean, if these people can't even fill out an application for a job or an apartment, I mean, obviously they're going to be homeless or incarcerated, So this is a very common problem.
Yes, sad but true.
Yeah.
I mean, in a country like this, our literacy rate.
Number one country in the world is suffering from this.
Yes. Yeah. Very sad. Very sad. So I'd like to take us from being sad about all the challenges that we have to an interesting article in The Economist that I found. Young Americans are getting happier.
Nice.
Really?
Young Americans are getting happier. Depression and anxiety seem to have peaked a couple of years ago. Professor Joy, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Daniel Eisenberg, a UCLA health policy professor, sent a mental health survey to 5,500, almost 5,600 college students, and found that 22% showed signs of depression. And this was in 2007. So this was 18 years ago. 22%. Over the next 15 years, as new students were polled, this figure grew. In 2022, 3 years ago, when more than 95,000 students at 373 universities were surveyed, a staggering 44%, almost half,
Oh my God.
almost half of 95,000 students displayed symptoms of depression. In 2023, 41% of students seemed depressed. In 2024, the figure fell again to 38%. He is cautiously optimistic. It's the first time that things are moving in a positive direction, he said. I got to believe through some of those years, I mean, the pandemic
It did it.
absolutely took a toll.
Yeah. So after pandemic, if you look at some of the research and news, what we ended up with was a pandemic of depression, anxiety, and obesity. 3 things. So, one of our chapters in the book, JoyScore book, is on self-esteem. So the research found that self-esteem is the single most important cause of depression, anxiety, and obesity. So it's like, sometimes you have a pain somewhere in your body and you find the source of it somewhere else. So, and these three things, depression, anxiety, and obesity, were the highest searched terms in Google. And they were all caused by low self esteem. Now, I had mentioned it one time that Mr. Zuckerberg, I don't want to say the name.
That wasn't very blunt of you.
I don't call him Zuckerberg. I call him something else that I
Yes, you
can't
do.
say it on.
Well, you replaced the Z with an F.
Now you're revealing the obscenity here.
Yes. Yes.
But anyway, um, he apologized to the parents in front of Congress who lost their kids. Now, what happens with kids? So, kids, more than adults, do not have the capacity to differentiate from glimpse of happiness to reality. Meaning, so these kids who were to start with low self-esteem kids, they start comparing themselves on Instagram to kids who are happier and look better and this and that, and they they feel so bad that they go in downward spiral till they kill themselves.
Yes. That is so sad with social media.
Yeah, and it was determined that Zuckerberg's algorithm in his app, which hooks kids and keeps them on hooked because he needs screen time. So that's what came out of it, that he was the cause of that.
So sad.
It's so sad.
According to this Economist article, though, university students are not the only ones feeling more upbeat. And so I'm going to direct this to you,
Okay.
because the data suggests that America's children are feeling slightly more cheery. The trend is a hopeful sign for parents and policymakers, too. But it raises puzzling questions for researchers. Psychologists have spent years trying to understand these trends and everything. How about you with your son?
I think that, and I might be wrong, but I think it's the shift in parenting style. My parents were very I don't want to use the word harsh, but negative parenting, I guess. Like, you do something bad, you get yelled at. Like, you
Get punished and
you
all.
get punished. Now it's more like positive parenting. So
Reinforcement.
yeah, so I think that could be the difference now with the younger generation being more happy. So
Yeah. Researchers have struggled to explain why young people have become so unhappy. And one popular theory, first proposed by Jean Twenge of San Diego State University. Boy, a lot of research is done out here in Southern California. It really is. That's very cool. Is that, and this is just what we just talked about,
Yeah.
social media are to blame. The decline in teenagers' mental health in the early 2010s, the argument goes, coincided with the rise of smartphones and social media apps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
also mindfulness and meditation have become more popular in the past couple of years. So that could also be why people are
Reason for
they're learning how to deal with their emotions and channel it somewhere else. So
Yeah.
that could also be
she's right.
a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parenting is so important nowadays.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now we're kind of going to go veer off in a little fork in the road, if you will. I mean, here we had this one article from The Economist that says that university students are getting a little happier, children are getting a little happier. But what's the happiest country in the world for the 8th year in a row?
Um,
It starts with an F.
Finland.
Finland.
We talked about this last year.
And here it is again. But this time, what's interesting is that America has dropped considerably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Drop meaning gotten worse?
Yes. The U.S. has fallen to its lowest ever position in the happiness ratings. While European countries dominate the top 20 in the rankings, despite the war with Hamas, Israel came in 8th. Costa Rica and Mexico entered the top 10 for the first time at 6th and 10th, respectively. The United States has dropped to its lowest ever position at 24,
Oh my God.
having previously peaked at 11th place in 2012. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The report states that the number of people dining alone in the United States has increased 53% over the last 2 decades. Dining alone, 53%. Happiness isn't only about wealth or growth, it's about trust, connection, and knowing people have your back, said John Clifton, the chief executive officer of Gallup, which does surveys and things like that. If we want stronger communities and economies, we must invest in what truly matters, each other. That's what we do with our JoyScore community. This was interesting. Talking about kindness. Believing in the kindness of others is also much more closely tied to happiness than previously thought, according to the latest findings. As an example, you're going to chuckle when you hear this, okay? The report suggests that people who believe that others are willing to return their lost wallet is a strong predictor of the overall happiness of a population.
Wow.
This goes directly to the situation that we talk about, finding the $100 bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you keep it or do you give it?
Yeah.
And people in Europe will return a lost wallet more
Than in U.S.
than the U.S.
Wow.
People trust each other in Finland, and I think on many levels in the society we try to support each other. So I think the system makes it kind of that you can trust it somehow. Unbelievable. In a concerning development, the study said that 19% of young adults across the world reported in 2023 that they have no one they can count on for social support.
Really?
Yes. They need to join us.
Yeah.
We will give them social support. That is a 39% increase compared to 2006. They don't have anybody they think that they will give them support. That is so sad. How about the unhappiness country in the world? Afghanistan.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, JoyScore is incorporating AI function, and the basis of that is for it to become like an avatar. So you could think of JoyScore as a coach, as a friend, whatever you want it to be. And it would actually, during the day, help you and support you.
You could talk to it?
Yeah. So, those 19% people you were talking about who have nobody to fall back on, they have JoyScore now. Because JoyScore is going to, during the day, say, hey, Gary, how are you feeling?
I love that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot. I think that'll be a great
Oh,
help.
yeah. It's,
All right. So that's it for the happiness report. Here you have some young Americans happier, and yet we're in 24th place, for goodness sakes.
That just means the rest of the countries are getting happier.
I sure hope so.
Do you know where Australia is?
Let me see. Let me take a look. Nordic nations ranked among the top places. So Finland, Sweden,
Yeah.
those places. Yeah. Does not mention Australia in this written report. So yeah. So that is it for this week's Professor Joy podcast. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you learned a little something. You can impress your friends telling them which country is the happiest in the world and where the U.S. ranks. But we need to work on our happiness. We need to work on it.
So Australia is 11th.
Okay.
Sorry.
Australia's 11.
Not that great.
It's not bad.
Oh, 11 is not bad.
So that is it for this week, everybody. Have a great week. I hope you have great weather where you are. We're enjoying good weather. And happy spring. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Thank you.